Hello, it's Dawn Michelle from Boho Tarot, and today we're going to be taking a look at the Astral Realms Crystal Oracle recently released by Rockpool Publishing. The Astral Realms Oracle is a portal into the esoteric world of crystal healing and celestial influences. So this gorgeous deck comes in a beautiful two-piece box, our familiar Rockpool box. I love that their boxes are always so beautifully created. We have the gorgeous imagery on the inside as well. We have the little guidebook that fits inside the box with the deck, which I always appreciate. So of course the deck comes with a wonderful guidebook, which we'll be taking a look at here in a moment. But you know me, I like to jump right into these cards. These are the beautiful backs, and these cards are actually rose gold gilded. Now, you know, gilding's usually not my favorite, but I think this is so beautiful and works so well with this particular deck that I actually really like the gilding on this deck. I know, I rarely see that. So our first card is Transcendence with the Moonstone, which connects to the crown chakra for white healing energy, divine inspiration, and spiritual protection. Next, we have Consciousness with our Lapis Lazuli for the third eye chakra, with clarity, awareness, and deep knowing. Here we have Expression with our Flower Agate relating to the throat chakra for self-growth, potential, and blossoming intentions. Next, we have Intention with our Moss Agate for our heart chakra, with intuition, abundance, and balance. Here we have Shakti with our Tangerine Quartz for our solar plexus chakra for creativity, self-worth, and playfulness. Next, we have Deep Knowing with our Sunstone for the sacral chakra for wisdom, focus, and being centered. Here we have Culmination with Hematite and the root chakra for ascension, higher realms, and grounding. Next, we have Intuition with our Aquamarine for our water element for fluidity, instinct, and openness. Here we have Eudaimonia with Malachite for Uranus, with intuitive self, enhanced creativity, and mindset. Next, we have Initiation with our Argonite for the fire element, with ignition, revelation, and radiation. Here we have Regeneration with our Black Tourmaline and Pluto for protection, purification, and grounding. Card 12 is Perseverance with our Turquoise for the earth element, with intention, serenity, and gateway. Next, we have Transition with Calcite and the moon for cycles, shifts, and recharging. Here we have Empathy with our Rose Quartz in connection with Venus for unconditional love, intuitive knowledge, and mutual respect. Next, we have Introspection with Fluorite for Asterion, with self-sufficiency, confidence, and free thinking. Here we have Divine Love with our Pink Amethyst for Soul Star Chakra, with true purpose, self-acceptance, and divine path. Here we have Abundance with our Smoky Amazonite, with Regulus Star for gratitude, visualization, and mindset. Next, we have Clarity with our Citrine that connects to the sun for revitalization, self-expression, and release. Here we have Insight with our Peach Selenite for the universal chakra, connecting to purity, healing energy, and protection. Next, we have Direction for the Super 7 with the Alrysha Star for transformation, lessons, and divine right. Here we have Boundaries with Labradorite for the South Node, protecting energy, metamorphosis, and strengthening. Next, we have Perspective with Larimar in connection with Neptune for Seeker Harmonizer, communication, and intuitive nature. Here we have Adaptability with our Lace Agate and our Air element in correlation with balance, flexibility, and flow. Here we have Momentum with our Pyrite in connection to Mars for vitality, masculine energy, and propulsion. Here we have Conviction with our Red Jasper and the Edamine Star for authenticity, trust, and mental clarity. Next, we have Curiosity with the Apotholite in connection with Jupiter for development, alignment, and experience. Here we have Expansion with our Opal and connection to our North Node for honor, spiritual path, and true self. Next, we have Cognizance with our Emerald in connection with Mercury for understanding, pragmatism, and communication. Here we have Alignment with our Herkimer Diamond and the Earth Star Chakra for universal oneness, attunement, and receiving. Next, we have Discipline with our Azurite in connection with Saturn for clear communication, blockage removal, and spirit guides. Next, we have Trust with our Ammonite and Palace for instinct, development, and wisdom. Here we have Resolve with our Desert Jasper in connection with Vesta for confidence, assurance, and settled. And finally, we have our card of Healing with our Spirit Quartz and connection to Chiron for harmony, tenderness, and overcoming. So now that we've had a chance to take a look at the cards, let's dive into the guidebook. It is, of course, our deck size full color guidebook as we normally find with our gorgeous Rockpool decks. Here's our title page. We have our table of contents. So we have all the cards listed here along with their corresponding page numbers. We have a little bit of an introduction. The astral realm is a transcendent place where all consciousness exists. Each of our souls has emerged from this realm and will return to it. Reconnecting with your highest self brings you into alignment with your truth, where you're living in authenticity unhindered by external influences and pressures, seeking what fills you with joy and attracting like-minded people, experience, and abundance. Seeking insight from the astrological transits of celestial bodies, turning within to enhance and unblock flow through your energetic chakral field, and utilizing the healing and empowering frequencies of crystals is what we call the trifecta, a divinely guided approach to raising your frequency and deepening your connection to the astral realm. So it talks about using crystals as one of the most employed methods of achieving transcendence. And then we get a little bit about the celestial bodies and, of course, about the chakra system and talking about the 7 chakra points in the body. There's also a handy diagram here, which is really fantastic if you are new to chakras or just need a refresher. I really appreciate that because while I have done some chakra studies, I am not really well versed in it. So having a little table like this is really handy. We have a little bit about using the cards. So let's go ahead and take a look here because it talks about how each card has the energetic signature printed at the bottom. So that is like our key word. It is the key component that ties the trifecta together and gives the overall idea about what aspect the card is going to address. So I love that we have this idea of creating the energetic triad here on the card itself. Then we have the crystal messenger is printed to the left of the card. So for transcendence, we have moonstone as the crystal messenger. And it says each crystal holds its own energy and capacity to assist you in those areas you need to focus on healing or exploring more deeply. And then over on this side, we have the supporting element, which may be a chakra, a celestial body, or an earthy element. It says each of these elements holds significant lessons and information you can draw from and apply in your life. I already have some ideas about how we might be working with these cards. Quickly finish going through the guidebook just so we can kind of get to the fun play with the cards part. We have a little bit of information about using it as a single card pull, doing a 3-card spread for your, past, present, future, mind, body, spirit. I love that one. I think that would work really well with this particular deck. We also have a 5-card guidance spread, which is really interesting. I love when the decks have some specific spreads attuned to that deck. I think that's really fantastic. And then we go into the information about the cards. So for each card, we have the keyword or that, what did they call it? Energetic signature. At the top here, we have the crystal messenger and the supporting element. So I have to go back and forth to look at those. We also have some keywords here to kind of help you tie into each of those cards. And then we have a little bit about the card itself, about the crystal and the energy represented on the card. And then we also have an activation guidance for each of the cards, which kind of gives you an action step of a way you can really tap into the energy being represented through these cards, and of course a quote as well, kind of like an I am statement, which is really wonderful. And we have that for all the cards in the deck. So really handy little guidebook. I do really like when guidebooks have sort of actionable steps or things that you can do, activities that you can do with the cards. I find that to be really helpful. So here in the back, we have a little bit about the author, which is Dark Moon Crystals, created by Leah Showman. And then we have a little bit about the illustrator, Paige McLeo, from Prism and Floor Design Studios. So beautiful little guidebook. I think it's really a handy little guidebook, and I think we're going to be using it for tapping into those energies, which I think is going to be really fantastic. So real quick, before we get into playing with the cards, let's talk about the cardstock. This cardstock is actually a little bit different than our normal Rockpool decks. It's actually kind of more of a satin not quite matte, but also definitely not glossy, as we've come to find with a lot of the Rockpool decks. So I'm wondering if they've got some new cardstock going on. So the artwork is very reminiscent of my Danielle Noel deck, so we'll definitely be tying into that. That was kind of one of my first thoughts when I got this deck, was to go, that's going to be a perfect pairing, I think. I am really excited to dive into it. So one of the things that really excites me about the deck is the idea of the triad here, the trifecta that we have on the cards, where we have this kind of key energy that we're tapping into, and then we have the crystal energy and the supporting energy to create this triad to really help us dive into these cards. So I'm really looking forward to actually kind of playing with that. I am going to do just a 1-card spread just so that we can kind of see how it goes. Let's go ahead and give it a little shuffle. I do have to say, I kind of dig the rose gold gilding on the side. I know gilding's not my thing, and I usually complain about it, but the Rockpool gilding is quite nice, and I don't ever really have a problem with it being like super sharp or uncomfortable. And I think the rose gold is just, yeah, it just fits this deck beautifully. It shuffles gorgeously, as you can see. I can overhand it, I can ruffle it. That always makes me happy when a deck is easy for me to physically work with. So beautiful. So let's go ahead and just pull 1 card so we can see, what did we get? We got our Discipline with Azurite and Saturn. So I do just want to read from the guidebook real quick, just so you can get a sense of the write-up that goes along with each card. All right, so we have Discipline is our focus. We have Azurite for our crystal energy and Saturn for our supporting energy. So the keywords are clear communication, blockage removed, and spirit guides. It says, in order to function in the pressured, instantaneous society we have created for ourselves, discipline is an essential part of daily life. We have become conditioned to expect immediate results, but that's not how life really operates. In order to achieve your dreams, goals, and desires, you must buckle down and get ready to face the hardships that come along the road to success. One planet to see you through this process is Saturn, your biggest supporter but toughest teacher. Saturn represents the limitations, hardships, and blockages you face in this lifetime and past lifetimes. As the ruler of time, Saturn will put you through the trials and tribulations in order for you to learn persistent lessons and come out on top with newly gained wisdom and maturity. Working with Saturn's energy is slow, but the results are long-lasting, and you'll be able to manifest things physically when you work with its energy. Although Saturn's lessons are hard and sometimes even brutal, they are necessary lessons. Face it head-on and do not fear it. Use crystals around you such as Azurite, a sacred stone for communication with your spirit guides, to aid you in your work with Saturn's energy. When associated with the third eye chakra, Azurite assists in awakening your psychic abilities. When used with the throat chakra, it helps you recognize your intuition and removes energy or communication blockages and roadblocks in your progress. Azurite is a great tool to use during meditation to clear your mind and allow you to go deep within yourself and clearly receive intuitive messages. It also assists in relieving your phobias and any negativity looming in your thoughts, and helps ease the blow of Saturn's tough lessons. So for our activation guide, we have ask and answer the following questions. What are some lessons that Saturn has taught you? How are these lessons seemingly karmic? If these lessons keep presenting themselves to you, what is a new approach you can take to experience a preferential outcome? And the sort of I am statement here is, I am working slowly with discipline to learn the lessons Saturn is teaching me. I love that. I love the little quotes, the sort of I am affirmation statements, because I love including those in my journal. So really great little messages. I quite enjoy that. And I think the artwork in the deck is quite lovely. I am looking forward to kind of working with it and tapping into those energies. But let's make some space, because I have an idea. Okay, so in addition to my Astral Realms Crystal Oracle that I have here, I also have my Mindful Living Inspiration cards, which is also by Rockpool Publishing and Katie Rose. And then I have my combined Work Your Light and Starseed Oracle that I've combined into one deck. both by Rebecca Campbell with artwork by Danielle Noel. And then I have my Moonchild Tarot from Danielle Noel. So I kind of have an idea to use the Astral Realms as a focal point deck. Okay, so I have all my decks here. They are all shuffled. So I'm going to set these ones to the side, and we're going to start with the Astral Realms Crystal Oracle. I think I've already given it a shuffle, but we'll shuffle it again just one more time. And I'm going to pull a card from this deck as my center focus. So I always like to cut and pull one in the middle. So we have Momentum with Pyrite and Mars. So those are our 3 areas of connection. The Work Your Light Starseed combined deck to correlate to the crystal energy. So for a message from Pyrite, so to speak. So we have Mirror for who or what is triggering you. Then I want to pull a card from the Moonchild for a deeper message from Mars. So here we got the King of Swords in connection with Mars. How appropriate is that? And then for our third and final card, for momentum and kind of a sort of actionable step or something to keep in mind with our momentum, I'm pulling from the Mindful Living deck. Well, that card wants to come out. So gratitude for my body affirmation. So I thought this would be really interesting to kind of look at using the Astral Realms as a focal point and each of those 3 connections to create that trifecta, that triad with my other decks. They're not in alphabetical order, but they are in numerical order. So that does help. So for our card of momentum, our base message here is keep moving forward. Small steps towards a goal are just as important as large bounds. Momentum is somewhat like a snowball effect in that over time, the energetic flow of multiple small actions will build and build, perhaps under the surface or in plain sight. Maintain a deep-seated trust that your actions combined with the universe's attraction power are propelling you towards your goal. No matter what stage you are in your journey, find reasons to keep progressing rather than finding reasons to quit. You never know how close you are to the next big surge forward. And so our card, our sort of activation for momentum is gratitude for body affirmation is I am grateful for the vehicle of this physical body I've been gifted for one precious lifetime in order to resolve old karmas and transcend. So that's our kind of grounded guiding message. That's the message of momentum that we need to bring forward. So looking to Mars for that deeper message. So we have Mars is a planet known for its action and momentum. This powerful energy provides you with the spark to carry on even when you're feeling defeated or underwhelmed. Mars's masculine energy represents your drive and desires and how you take action. It is a fiery planet and it will bestow the ability to set aside excuses or justification and charge through heavy emotions. So I love that we have this King of Swords, this masculine energy, which definitely correlates to the energy of Mars. Then we can look to Pyrite here for our crystal energy. Says it is essential to complement your focus with similar energetic composition. Keeping Pyrite on your person will allow its vibrational frequency to give you the vitality you're craving. Pyrite's masculine energy can increase your mental focus and lend you its power to commit to and remain persistent in pursuing your objective. Use Pyrite as a shining example of what a combination of determination and strength looks like. So here we have the card of mirror. So who or what is triggering you? So for the I am statement, it is I am grateful for where I came from and where I'm going, which I think is really wonderful when we're looking again at that gratitude from body affirmation. So I thought this just would be really fun to kind of play with some different ways that we could use this card as a focal point, a place to expand our message upon. So let's just do a few more just to kind of see what we've got and how they look. So we've got perspective here with warrior goddess archetype affirmation. And then we have Neptune with our Two of Pentacles and our Larimar with Keepers of the Earth. So a reminder that you are not alone and ancient ancestors stand beside you. Really getting this idea of bringing things into balance and looking at things through this sort of warrior goddess archetype. I think that's really interesting. So let's just pull just a couple more just so we can kind of play with this idea just a little bit more. So here we have Perseverance. So let's see what Perseverance has to say. We have the Shiva Shakti archetype affirmation. In our kind of root or grounded energy here. For our earth element, we have the Four of Wands. So interesting, fire in the earth element. I think that's really beautiful. I love this kind of idea of coming together that we see forming here. And then for our turquoise, we have Anna, the grandmother of Jesus. So seeding the light, laying foundations, and divine plan. So bringing that divinity together into kind of one, coalescing it into one internal balance. I think that's beautiful. So while I love the idea of using the 3 points of the card to kind of create a reading in itself, I also kind of want to see how this deck just pairs with using it as a traditional oracle. So for this first one, we're going to be using the Star Tarot because I feel like the art styles are really compatible in these decks. So here we have consciousness in between the Emperor and the third eye chakra. We could also look to these individual points as kind of tying these two together. So tying the Emperor together in with the lapis lazuli, tying the Ace of Swords in together with that third eye chakra, and letting the consciousness be the focal point of that message. I think that's a really lovely way to work with these decks together as well. So here we have initiation between the Four of Swords and the Ace of Crystals. So we have the Four of Swords tapping into that energy of Argonite, and the Ace of Crystals tapping into the fire element. So we have earth and fire again together, kind of cultivating that initiation. So here we have trust, with anemone leading to serenity, and palace leading to the Nine of Crystals. I think that actually works quite beautifully as well, just letting these cards and these keywords and these elements kind of all play together. We have the tarot associations coming through the Star Child Tarot. We have kind of that focal point coming through the Astral Realms Oracle, but we're also able to pull in that crystal energy and that elemental or earthy or energetic or cosmic energy through the associations on the right side of the card as well. So I think that's actually quite beautiful in the way that they work together. Aesthetically speaking, they're super compatible. This artwork is very indicative of Danielle Noel's style. And I think it works quite well with her decks. So just one more deck that I wanted to try here, because again, this is another one of my favorite decks to use for kind of healing and self-reflection work, is the Ember and Aura Tarot. And again, I feel like while the art styles are different, I feel like the color palettes and the energy of the decks will be quite compatible. So here we have transition between the Fool and the Hermit, and we have the Fool tapping into that energy of calcite and the Hermit tapping into the energy of the Moon, which we also see here. Interesting how we have two moons here and a sun here. I think that's really quite beautiful. Again, the art styles are quite different because we have the sort of photo collage here in the Astral Realms and the more illustrated look in the Ember and Aura, but I think the color palettes are quite compatible. They have that very kind of pink, purpley, white type of energy to them that all pulls in together beautifully. So I do think they are quite compatible, even though they are different art styles. So here we have intuition between the Four of Swords and the Hanged One. I do quite like that additional energy that we're seeing on the sides of the cards. So we have that crystal and that supporting energy as well as the keyword. I think that's quite beautiful. I love when there's a lot of good information to dive into on the card itself. That really helps to kind of expand the ways that I can work with a deck. So here we have direction between the Eight of Coins and the Tower. I feel like I have quite a few decks that I could actually pair this deck with. It's kind of an aesthetic that I seem to be drawn to, and I do have quite a few decks that follow along the same lines, have the same kind of color palette, and I probably could pull out 3 or 4 more, but then we'd really be here forever. I could use it as a focal point to cultivate a tarot reading from it using those energetic positions that we saw, that little triad or the trinity that we see represented in each of these cards. And you could also just pull one of these cards to really tap into for the moment, to get a message in the moment, to have a journaling prompt or just a moment of meditation and reflection. I think that there is a lot of different ways that you can use this deck, and I really do like the sort of expansiveness of the keywords and the information in the guidebook, and the fact that we can have multiple points of contact with this card. So multiple different ways that we can tap into it. We have intention here that we can look at. We have the energy of the Moss Agate that we can look at, and that supporting energy of tapping into the heart chakra. Just beautiful. And I do quite like the artwork. It's very simple and it's very subtle, and I do think that that helps it to really pair well with a lot of different things. I really love this one with the flowers and the mushrooms and the butterfly, and we have the fluorite in the middle with these kind of ribbons coming around it. It's very subtle and understated, and I really do quite enjoy that. A lot of times when we get photo collage decks, we get a lot of stuff going on in the card, and it can be kind of a little bit overwhelming to just pick out individual elements or symbols. And I like that this deck is really quite clear and simple and very kind of calming in its color palette and its structure. I think it's definitely one that would be really beautiful for meditation, as well as, like I said, journaling prompts and using it for tarot readings. So I'd like to thank Rockpool Publishing for giving me the opportunity to share this deck with you today. I would love to know what your thoughts are on it, so please feel free to share with me in the comments below. Thank you for joining me today. You'll find links for everything featured here in the description box below. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I look forward to seeing you again soon for more creative tarot for an inspired life.